Hey everybody, it's Jake Tapper from CNN State of the Union and factcheck.org, and this week we're going to take a look at some of the remarks made during that explosive Oval Office meeting between President Trump and Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. The confrontation was largely about whether there should be any federal funding of a border wall at the U.S.-Mexico border. Take a listen to what President Trump had to say about the effectiveness of such a wall.
A lot of the wall is built. It's been very effective. I asked for a couple of notes on that. If you look at San Diego, illegal traffic dropped 92% once the wall was up. It dropped virtually 100% in the areas where the wall is.
Is that true? Do statistics show that illegal traffic, quote, dropped virtually 100% in the areas where the wall is? No, that's not true. First off, the president is talking about the effectiveness of border fencing over the last 20 years, not a border wall that he has had built. Now, the numbers the president gave for San Diego, as well as ones that he gave for El Paso, Tucson, and Yuma, which you did not see in that clip, refer to statistics provided to us by officials at Customs and Border Protection for the period of 1992 through 2016. And while it's true that CBP says that additional fencing has had an effect on reducing illegal traffic, they also cited other reasons, such as increased manpower or better technology. In addition, according to a USA Today analysis, very little of the fencing around El Paso and Tucson and Yuma is focused at all on stopping pedestrians. Instead, it's designed to stop cars. Now let's turn to a second claim from the president. Take a listen.
People with tremendous medical difficulty and medical problems are pouring in, and in many cases, it's contagious.
Let's look at the broader issue here. Is there a tremendous health risk associated with illegal immigration? The answer is, according to studies, no. According to a recent report in the medical journal The Lancet, quote, the risk of transmission from migrating populations to host populations is generally low. That report says that while it's difficult to gather data on undocumented immigrants and that they may come from higher disease rate countries, the risk of outbreak is low. In fact, for some common diseases such as measles, migrants can come from countries that have higher vaccination rates than exist in the U.S. According to the World Bank, Mexico and Nicaragua and Honduras all have higher vaccination rates for measles than the United States does. Now let's take a look at a claim made by the president about terrorists trying to cross the border. Take a listen.
People are pouring into our country, including terrorists. We have terrorists. We caught 10 terrorists over the last very short period of time. 10.
This is misleading. Now, the figure 10 is correct, but they have not all been confirmed as terrorists, and they didn't all come from across the southern border. The Department of Homeland Security, in response to our question about this, said, quote, on average last year, DHS prevented 10 individuals tied to terror, known or suspect terrorists, each day from traveling or attempting to travel to the United States, including individuals attempting to travel to the United States by air, sea, or land. In fact, according to a July 2017 State Department report, there was, quote, no credible information that any member of a terrorist group has traveled through Mexico to gain access to the United States. It was not just President Trump, however, that made misleading claims in the Oval Office during that meeting. Take a listen to Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi.
We came at a place to say, how do we meet the needs of American people who have needs? The economy has, people are losing their jobs.
This, too, is misleading. While it's certainly true that some workers are losing their jobs, as a general note, that is always happening in the United States. In terms of the general climate for job creation, it's strong. The unemployment rate is as low as it's been since 1969. The U.S. has added jobs for a record 98 consecutive months, including nearly 4.2 million jobs since President Trump took office. Pelosi's spokesperson told us she was referring to, quote, layoffs such as GM's layoffs. And that's true. General Motors announced last month that they're closing 7 plants and cutting up to 14,000 jobs. But that's not reflective of the overall economy. A reminder to all you politicians out there, you're certainly entitled to your own opinions, not to your own facts. I'm Jake Tapper from CNN State of the Union and factcheck.org.